Soldier E. Hood, Benaniyah Sharala, of the Battle Axes of the Most High. I am just a humble servant of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Hamashiach Yahushua, coming to you guys with another Fervent Friday. We get ready to close this beautiful Passover season out. Give everybody the opportunity to come on in, like, share, subscribe, share it on your social medias and wherever you can share it. Can I? Shalom, Brother Mosaic. Shalom, Yahweh's little one. Good to see y'all, man. Pray y'all been having a plentiful Passover, right? Pray that y'all been having a plentiful Passover in the name of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Hamashiach Yahushua, right? It's been one of those weeks, right? It's been one of those weeks. You saw them spiraling out of control. They want everything to go the way they want it to go, right? They want it to go. It's more tariffs, it's more food recalls, there's more things. Been good for sure. God, it's okay. It's okay. I understand that feeling, trust me. Best thing you can do is throughout the year, if you have extra funds, just try and save up. You know, pray, fast, ask the Lord, hey, I want to be with the congregation. I want to make sure I'm keeping your Passover. Those are light things to the Lord because it's doing something to honor him. Right? Because it's the Lord's Passover. It's the Lord's Passover. Trust me, when I first was going to the first Passover that I celebrated in 2020 with the congregation, that year was mighty for me. Even though we had COVID going on, I went to my first Hebrew Summit. So I got to meet a lot of the brothers that do class online, like different teachers and whatnot. Sabbath, or Priest Sabbath, Priest Kahan, what's it, Hebrew Gorilla, you know, Assad. Got to meet General Hashar, right? A lot of different brothers that y'all may know. I got to go out and do kind of like a marathon street teaching, right? Shalom, shalom, Brother Minnesota Ray, man. Glad that you made it back home safely. Pray that you're coming back. Man, there's been a lot of craziness that's been going on, right? A lot of craziness going on, man. I don't know if you guys heard about, it was a woman, she was like 32. She got a hysterectomy, right? And they told her that she had a tumor on her ovary, right? But the doctors had to come back and apologize when she got a biopsy and it showed no cancer. Right? Yeah, I tell you what, these heathens, boy, they going through it. They're going through it, bro. It's raining, right? It's raining problems for these heathens. I'm just waiting for some more brothers and sisters to get on in here. All right. They still going on about, I guess, got a whole bunch of stuff. They saying that, I guess they got a CT scan thing, and they said it's gonna be 100,000 new cancers in the U.S. Well, Esau and them, they just don't know when to quit. They don't know when to quit. Right? They got so much AI program and so much AI. I would just say they just using AI. This is how these mistakes will be made in the future. All praise to the Most High for their ignorance of trusting in something that can be compromised, right? But we know what can't be compromised. The word of the Most High. Y'all come on in, that like, share, subscribe, right? They said more canine cancer cases detected, right? It's easy to just throw that up there. Oh, your dog got cancer. We got to do this to it. Yeah, okay. Yeah. It say Texas Health Resources sues over insulin prices, and they got like hundreds and hundreds of lawsuits coming. They even put the pork in the insulin. It's trying to sneak it in there, right? It's trying to sneak it in there. Closing stores, they close big lots, then they like, psych, we finna open it back up, right? Now we finna open it back up. So all of that going out of business, all that craziness, man. The Most High is moving in such a way. There's so much different things going on. They upset about that. That's that new bill that they were passing about the trying to get rid of the income tax and all of that type of stuff. Where it's like if you're making, like, let's say 60,000 as a combined household, right? You're gonna be looking at a lot of different taxes that's gonna be hitting. If you're making over 120, I think the tax is gonna be better, right? But hey, all praises, because we're getting closer and closer and closer to the Most High just saying, hey, guess what? Ain't no more places to hide, right? A lot of people are investing in cannabis and all of that, and it's not going to make you no more money. Digital currency, it's not. All of this stuff is getting to be is you might as well say the heathens are getting ready for that going out of business sale. All praises to Yahweh Bahashim or Mashiach Yahweh Shah. That is a blessing, because guess what? That means that we need to get closer to the Most High, because when His Son come back, he's coming back like an accountant. He's gonna be separating the wheat and the tares, right? You better read your scriptures, keep your commandments, eat your Wheaties. You want to be that wheat and not that tear, man. You want to be that, right? You want to be that. All right, so we'll go ahead and get this rocking. All right. So let's go ahead and do it. The name of this week's Fervent Friday, because I know y'all seen me on Monday, right? But this week's Fervent Friday is Edom's Eviction Notice from Power. The Lord has given Edom an eviction notice from power. You come home from work, you've ever had an eviction notice before? I haven't had one. By the praise of the Most High. I've had eviction conversations when I was back in the world, right? A lot of times you may not even be doing anything wrong. You might have a slumlord over you, where there's something like black mold or appliances or electrical issues that they're refusing to fix. So what they do, they throw an eviction on you. They come up with something and they throw an eviction on you. This is how a lot of these heathens do it. This is a lot of our people who don't know the requirements of properly serving the Most High is, right? So we're going to go into this week's Edom's eviction notice from power. All praises the Most High, showing that these heathen nations, and starting with Edom because they're at the top of the list. The rest going to fall right behind them. It's like a house of cards. All right? Let's start out the book of Revelations. The Most High put this on my spirit like last week in regards to it. I was going to go with this Monday, but just didn't have enough precepts in regards to like just really getting this message conveyed to the sheep of the Most High. We're going to Revelation chapter 14 and 8, right? And it reads, "And there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city," right? America is this Babylon that they speak of. A lot of people would disagree, but think about it. America is the city of dreams. People dream of coming to America, and all the movies, any movie you want to look at, they want to leave their country in the situation it's in, come to America to be a movie star, to be an athlete, to be a chef, of entertainment, something of a high status that they don't believe that they can accomplish in their country. And usually it's because it's been destabilized by the exact place that they're running to, right? The reason why Babylon must fall, let's look. Because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. Because guess what? She's in bed with every government. America, hey, look, you got beef with them? We got some weapons. Then they go to their enemy. Hey, they bought some missiles. We know. They got the receipts. Hey, need to get you some missiles to fight back, and destabilize both of them. And that way they don't have to worry about, but they end up having to worry about down the line, right? Let's get all nations, right? Let's get all nations. I'm going to go over to, hold your precept. I'm going to go over to Psalms 72, right? Because we got to find out all nations, because Christianity will teach you, right, through their broken religion, because they say, well, I thought you guys were Christians. We believe in the Most High, His Son. His Son died on the cross. His Son rose from the dead. His Son did the miracles. And we also believe that His Son is coming back for His chosen people, which is the nation of Israel, right? Yes, 2/3 of the nation of Israel, those who proclaim to be Israelites, right, who know their heritage, who know their lineage, not going to make it. That's the sad thing. That's why we must endure to the end. You hear people say, well, I'm saved and sanctified. No one's saved. Shalom, Yapa, Tazalaya, Arriva. Right. A beautiful rib. Praises to the Most High. Right. So we have to find out who all these nations are, because they'll say, well, Israel's included in that. Okay, let's find out. Psalm 72, and we're going straight to the point. Verse 11, right? And it reads, "Yea, all kings shall fall down before him. All nations shall serve him," right? So what we have to do is we have to look at the context of this. During this time, David was king. He was already serving the Most High, right? So he didn't need to fall down, right, before him. And when we speak of all nations, the children of Israel were keeping the commandments during David's rule. Were they wicked Israelites? Yes, they were. But again, I just said 2/3 are not going to make it. It's always been that way. Everyone didn't want Christ on the cross. There was, think about it. when he told the disciples, he had to go off on I believe it was Peter, telling him, hey, you got a devil. I got to do the Lord's work. I have to die, right? I have to do this for the nation. He had to get him correct. Hey, look, I know how you feel, but I got to do this. My father sent me to do this. I got to do my father's business, right? But they say, oh, the Jews rejected Christ, so everybody can go to heaven. So if that was the case, who took his body off the cross? If that was the case, who dressed his body, put it in the tomb? Because guess what? The heathen nations, the centurions, they weren't going to do it. They had to realize from what happened when he gave up the ghost that, hey, I think we made a mistake. Was they going to say it? No. These heathens are prideful. They're not going to say that. Who went to check on the tomb to find out he was risen from the dead on the third day? All right. If everybody wanted him dead, if all the Jews rejected him, how did these events that were written in the scriptures happen? Right? Weren't the 12 disciples still teaching the word of the Most High? Didn't he return for 40 days and shoot himself and told them, hey, continue to keep the commandments. Continue to do what I taught you. Did he not do that? Right? But if everyone that was a Jew wanted him dead, if everyone in Israel wanted him dead, then what would be the point of him coming back to show people, hey, it's me? Shalom, shalom, Brother Q, right? Why would he do that? He wouldn't need to do that if everyone wanted him out of there. Wouldn't be no point. Did he go to Pilate and say, hey, look, I know y'all thought y'all killed me on the cross, right? But I'm right back. Hey, can't kill me. I told you who I was. No, he didn't do that. He went to those who had to continue the mission, right? Had to continue what was implemented. So let's look at that. All nations, he's talking about the heathen nations, right? Israel was already serving him. Drop down to verse 14. It says, he shall redeem their soul from deceit. Who's the there? Israel. Who have we been deceived by? The heathen nations. Deceiving our women to think that they need to put weave in their head, eyelashes on, when they already have beautiful eyelashes, already have beautiful hair, right? 12 tribes women are the most beautiful women on the planet. You know why? The Most High created it that way. And guess what? These heathens have deceived our women over years and years and years of indoctrination through entertainment, through movies, through propaganda, through advertisements, that they just wasn't good enough. It wasn't good enough, right? But you look at the situation, the heathen women were getting Botox, right? We're getting, they were getting, what's the name? Breast implants and all of these different things that now our women are like, well, we want them too, right? When they didn't need it. They didn't need to Frankenstein their body like these heathen women did, right? They weren't shaped like a spoon. You see what I'm saying? It's to the point where this is the reason why our people need to be redeemed, right? It says, he shall redeem their soul from deceit and violence, where we're not being victimized. They say, oh, you guys want to play the victim. We want to play the victim, but yet you got all the pictures of us being a victim. You got the German shepherds biting us. You got us running for our lives in complete terror, right? You got us hanging from trees. You got us getting beat. You got pictures of us with your feet on us like a footstool. You got all of these depictions showing that you dominated us through slavery and different scenarios. But we're playing the victim because we can realize that, hey, that wasn't cool, right? But again, this is the deceit that they like to play. They want to hold themselves not guilty. You know, thought you had a gun, turned out to be a wallet. They got a little trigger happy. Now that person's gone. Now guess what they do? They take leave. It's usually with pay. Then they say, okay, well, we're going to make it like we fired him, but he's really going to be moving over to either another state or another county or another city and continue his reign of terror there, right? This is exactly what they do, but yet the 12 tribes of Israel playing the victim. They sent the brother over to, I think, that Venezuelan prison, right? If I'm saying the right. Northern Kingdom brother, right? So they say, yeah, we sent them over. Then they realized, oh man, I think we made a mistake. So you know what they did? They went back and said, oh, well, he was a gang member at one point. He was in a gang. So we did right. Hey, we did right. This man, so people aren't allowed to make mistakes, right? Because when you go back and say, well, hey, here's a picture of you at 7 years old at a Klan rally. But he was only 7. He was part of the Klan. How do we know you left, right? How do we know in college when you pledged your actual fraternity and they were doing racist things that you're still not doing that? When they got a picture of you at a fraternity in blackface that you're not still doing that, right? But yet they sent him over there and he was supposed to be innocent. But hey, to them it doesn't matter, right? Because again, Esau is getting an eviction notice from power. They're getting out of control with the things that they do, right? They're getting out of control with the things that they do. And it doesn't matter to them, right? It says, and precious shall their blood be in his sight, right? Our blood was always precious. When Abel was murdered by his brother Cain, his blood cried out from the earth to the Most High, right? They don't understand that when our blood is shed and this innocent blood is shed, these are of the 7 things that the Most High hate. That's why he tells us not to do it. But they don't get it because they don't want to get it. Because you know why? They never served the Most High. They never loved the Most High. They don't care nothing about the Most High. But when they find out that they're going to get a punishment, when they find out that there's a penalty for their actions, now it's, oh, we're all going to heaven. All dogs don't go to heaven. And the ones that go, they gotta have servitude, handmaids, and hand servants, kings dragged in fetters, right? That's what's going to be coming. When you read this to them in the Bible, they don't want to hear that. When you start to show them their wicked ways, they don't want to see that, right? Alexander the Freak, or as they called him, the Great, wasn't doing great things. When he was conquering other countries, right? When he was sodomizing other men, doing things to dominate them mentally and physically, that wasn't great. But guess what? That's the reason why we have an apocrypha. Martin Luther in the Protestant church said, hey, yeah. Not only can we not translate this into German and all these other languages, it exposes too much of things that we just really are, we would rather not talk about. All right. But again, when they say all nations, is everybody included? Well, let's get more proof. All right. And they'll tell you, oh, Esau is not the Caucasian. Well, that's not true. They've written books saying that they're that, right? They wrote it themselves with their own ethnicity. But guess what? That's not good enough, even though it's been proved. Let's go to Isaiah 40 and 70. 17. Not say 40 and 70. It's like 40 and 17. And it says, all nations before him are as nothing. They don't want to hear that part. They don't want to hear that the Most High has realized and used them, right? And they're really nothing to him. And what we've been talking about, hey, you're the best thing on the planet, brother. Stop the smoking. Stop the drinking. Stop the blasphemy of the Most High's name, right? Sister, stop selling your body. dress modestly, right? Shalom, shalom, Nasham, right? When we tell our people this, they don't want to hear that. When we read this scripture, we say all nations before him are as nothing, and they are counted to him less than nothing in vanity, right? He's letting you know you're trying to be like something that's not and never will be and never was important to him, right? I'm going to jump up to verse 15. It says, behold, the nations are as a drop of a bucket and are counted as small dust of the balance, right? Behold, he taketh up the isles as a very little thing, right? We brought this out at camp last week. There was a brother there who had got out of the hospital. He had a drink, right? And we brought this precept out. And we said, if you dropped some of your drink out of your cup, you're not going to get down there and try and lick it up. You know what this man did? And this is the destruction of how our people are so destroyed mentally, not having understanding of how important they are to the Most High. He pours out some of his drink, gets on the ground, and licks it. Shalom, shalom, brother. Good to see you, right? He said, and we all just kind of looked at him like, oh, bro, that's disgusting. But our people, a lot of our people are destroyed in the minds. And they'll say, well, why do you go out to the street? Right? People ask, why are you not feeding the homeless and this, that? We are feeding them the bread of life, the water to quench their thirst for an eternity. You can give them a water, right? They're going to drink that water and go light them up another cigarette. Khan, glad to have you here. Huh? They're going to go, a sister may want to drink that water because she just popped a pill, right? Shalom, shalom, Soldier Abraham. Good to see you, King, right? We have to really look at this, right? When the Christianity church comes out and they feed the homeless, right? They know the dietary law, but what they're going to do is they're going to lie on Christ. They're going to lie on Christ. They're going to lie on the Most High. And this is where you have to draw the line and say, hey, who are you going to serve? Right? They'll come out there with hundreds of pepperoni pizza, knowing the Lord says, hey, not supposed to even be touching pork, let alone eating it. It's unclean, right? But what do? They come out there with all those pepperoni pizzas. They're looking for all the people on the drugs, that's drunk. They got the cameras recording. They want to be seen of men, right? They go out there and feed the homeless things that they can't eat, or they'll record themselves feeding the homeless or giving them money, right? Even though they see a alcohol bottle right there next to him. The guy's completely obliviously drunk. He's cohesive enough to have a conversation for that money, but he's drunk. How is that helping them, right? How is giving those people who need the word of God and need to repent and come out of the situation that the Lord has put them in? I could give them $20, but the Most High told me, help when you do good, know who thou doest to. Help not a sinner. So if I see that you are in sin, the Most High has put you in a lower estate. The best thing I can do is tell you, number one, brother, you need to come out that sin. You need to come out of that. You need to show a reference of good work. A reference of good work. We've had brothers come out to the camp, like Brother Bilal, right? Came out to the camp one week, had a lot of questions. Answered those questions. You see that light bulb starting to flicker a little bit. Came back out there the next week. He didn't have his boy with him. Had a notepad to write stuff down. You can see that light bulb. You know, it was a little dim, but it was lighting up. And he said, hey, I want to join you guys. You can see that light bulb come on. Now he's in class. He's calling out the precepts. He's asking questions. The Lord is building him up, right? He didn't need a sandwich. He didn't need a bottle of water. He didn't need any of that, right? But this is where we have to really ask ourselves, where's the vanity coming in, right? And in verse 17 says, all nations before him is as nothing. Those pepperoni pieces mean nothing to the Lord, right? They're accounted to him less than nothing and vanity, right? They don't have a homeless section in Walmart where people can leave their change or whatever and donate a tent or donate some shoes or clothes, right? Multi-billion-dollar company. We're not questioning them, right? Not questioning them at all. But what you'll do is you'll come out here questioning us in regards to us doing the work of the Lord. And, well, how come you're not feeding anybody? Let me explain something to you, right? When you go out there and you're feeding somebody, you need a license to do that. God forbid somebody decides and say, hey, those Israelite people are giving out food. You know, I know a way we can get them off the block, right? I'll just say that this person got sick, had to go to the hospital, and I call the police. And there you go. Now, guess what? That creates a problem because it was never about them eating the food. It was about them looking for a way to have an interaction, right? Yahri rebuked the Edomite, Captain Yahri, years ago. I remember watching this on live. Rebuked the Edomite. Edomite said, oh, yeah, called the police, made a false claim, right? They showed up 50 deep. You would have swore he told them that we're down there shooting guns in the air. They showed up 50 deep to arrest this man for teaching the word of the Most High. But these are and guess what? Now they don't work no more. Because guess what? They realized, hey, this person lied. We didn't know he was on camera. We didn't know y'all was recording it. So now, guess what? It's all, as you can't say we can't record it. We're standing right out there at the West End. It's like 3 or 4 cameras. They don't put cameras in the parking lot. Right? They thought that, oh, well, maybe first they was letting us park there without any problems. Right? They knew it's the Sabbath, so they wasn't charging us to park there. Okay, no problem. We weren't littering, we weren't leaving any trash, anything. But now they came up, they put this big old sign up there. They said, you gotta take a picture of this and you gotta pay now. They put all these cameras up and stuff. Now when you look, if we used to go show that parking lot, it's maybe 1 or 2 cars there. If that. Nobody parks there. Nobody cares about parking there, right? Most High will go ahead and shut things down any way he can, and he'll just make another way for his prophets to thrive and to do his work, because that's all the Most High cares about. He doesn't care about pleasing of men, right? He doesn't. This is the reason why we have to understand how important we are versus those that a lot of our people implement. Go over to Jeremiah. Going over to Jeremiah 30 and 11, right? Because we got to really look at what the Most High said, because when they try to say, oh, he's talking to everybody, he's talking to all the nations, okay? Let's look. Because if he sent his prophet Isaiah to talk to the Israelites, right? That's why he was explaining all those other nations are nothing. Stop trying to be like them. Stop putting a blonde hair in your head, right? Stop trying to be like Esau, right? Stop trying to be like Shesau, right? Jeremiah 30 and 11, and it reads, for I am with thee, saith the Lord, to save thee. Right? Now, hold that. Jump up to verse 2, just so we can see who he's speaking with, right? It says, thus speaketh the Lord God of Israel, not the Lord God of the world, the Lord God of Israel, right? Saying, write thee all the words that I have spoken unto thee in a book, right? Jump down to verse 4, and it says here, and these are the words that the Lord spake concerning Israel and concerning Judah not concerning the world. So when we go back up to verse 11, we have context of who he was speaking to only. It says, for I am with thee, saith the Lord, to save thee, though I make a full end of all the nations, whether I have scattered thee. Meaning he was going to destroy them, not obliterate them, because there's no end to the people, as the scripture says. But he was going to destroy each and every one that had us in domination of slavery, who was enslaved to, right? The Egyptians, right? The Babylonians, the Assyrians, Persians and Medes, right? The Greeks, the Romans. They were going to be punished for what they had done. It wasn't going to get away scot-free, right? It says, though I make a full end of all nations, whether I have scattered thee, right? Can't be us if we're scattered there, right? If he was going to destroy us, he was going to do it, right? But he's talking about all the heathen nations. They're getting an eviction notice again. Yet will I not make a full end of thee. Of who? Israel. So we tell them that we're Israelites. We show them our proclamation of who we are and prove that. Now, that's not even a discussion anymore. Because they know, okay, all right, fine. Christ is black, Israelites is black. But for God to love the world, all of us are going, man. Oh, okay. And we show them Revelations, the last two books of Revelations, they still believe that. So once they get that strike 2, strike 3 is going to be like, well, we gotta take this Bible from them. And they know too much. I don't like their speech. I don't like their the accountability that they're taking to serve the Lord properly. I don't have an opportunity at heaven. I can't go. So guess what? I don't want them to go either. Right? That's how it's always been. Right? It says, but I will correct thee and measure, and will not leave thee altogether unpunished. Right? We have to look at it. We have to look at it. He had to break those yokes off of us. Right? When they told us, right, in verse 9, it says, but they shall serve the Lord their God. Right? Who's the they? Israel. It wasn't for everybody. Right? And David, their king, whom I will raise up unto them. Right? It says, therefore, fear not, O my servant Jacob. Right? We are of the servitude, the lineage, the seed of Jacob, through Isaac, through Abraham, right? Not Ishmael, right? Saith the Lord. Neither be dismayed, O Israel, not O world, not everybody, right? For lo, I will save thee from afar, and thy seed, not seeds, but seed, Galatians 3:16, from the land of their captivity. Weren't we in captivity? Every land we were scattered into because we're disobedient, so we had to get a punishment, right? Don't mean that that punishment includes, well, we got to punish y'all, so we get to go too because we punished you. We did not punish you, right? That's that foolish thinking. And Jacob shall return and shall be in rest and be quiet, and none shall make him afraid, right? That's why that verse 11, for I am with thee, saith the Lord, to save thee, though I make a full end of all nations, whether I have scattered thee. Yet will I not make a full end of thee, but I will correct thee in measure, and will not leave thee altogether unpunished, right? You think you're not gonna get that punishment? Shalom, Akwaf Netta. Get to see, sis. Think you're not gonna get that punishment? That's why you gotta do thus say the Lord. That's why you gotta do thus say the Lord. It was never about When he said feed my sheep, he didn't say go out there with catering services. He said feed them from the word, bread of life, the water of life, washing away their sins with the word of the Most High. Food isn't going to save you. Food is not getting you into the kingdom. Hell, you're not even keeping the feast days. That's where the food at. If you were looking to do the will of the Most High, you would see the food right there, right? You would see that the food that they're so worried about. Oh, why y'all not feeding the homeless? When we bid them to the marriage, right? Shalom, Aqua Wilina, right? When we bid them to the marriage, saying, come away from the sin. Hey, you need to be on this side, brother. You need to be serving the Lord with us, right? Oh, man, I just want a water. There's plenty of water at the feast days, right? Put a 1 in the chat if you celebrated a feast day with the Battle Axes of the Most High. From the first time, from an out-of-town trip, anytime. There's plenty of food. There's plenty to drink. Hey, you can even take food home with you, right? But you got to be keeping the commandments of the Most High to dwell and to gather. Us just going out there feeding everybody, hey, guess what? What if that person has an allergy to a certain food and we feed them that and they drop out or die from that? Guess what? Now we're putting the ministry at risk for something that they probably didn't even want anyway. They just took it because you was handing it out. How many of those homeless people fell out from that pizza because you ain't seen them do it in probably over 2 years. You ain't seen them out there doing it. Oh, well, we feed the homeless. We do that. Yeah, you're going to get tax exemption and a write-off for doing that. Come on, bro. Who are you fooling? All you're doing it to be a seen of men, right? That's all that is, to be seen of men, right? I'm going to go to Joel 3 and 2 to stack it up with this verse 11, right? Where he says, I will make a full end of all the nations, right? Joel chapter 3, verse 2, he says, I will also gather all nations and bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage, Israel. Oh, we're the Lord's heritage. They don't want you to know that. That's a problem for them. When you realize, oh, they know their heritage now, right? And when we display that acknowledgement of knowing who we are, that doesn't sit with them well. That's why he's going to gather all nations into the valley of Jehoshaphat, which is the valley of decision, right? You can go to Joel 3 and 14, Revelations 17 and 16, Revelations 19 and 20, right? But when we say that all the nations, when it says all nations don't include Israel, and it proves it right here. It said, plead with them for my people, for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land, right? They parted the Lord's land because we have inheritance, right? We have landmarkers. So when you're parting that, guess what? The Most High is like, he's not happy with that. It's like, this is my children's property. You're parting that. You're putting all of these things over there, right? At the Gaza, they're fighting over something, and guess what? The Most High said, got part of my land. That don't belong to the small hats or the Akbar booms. Don't belong to neither one of them, right? Don't belong to neither one of them. But they don't look at it that way. Go over to Deuteronomy 30. All right? Go over to Deuteronomy 30. And all praises for the Most High, right? All praises for his word, right? For the proof. We can prove these things. So when they sit and say, oh, that's not true, it's everybody. No, we're going to break it all down. We're going to prove why Babylon must fall, the great city, all the nations that drunk that wine of that fornication. We know who y'all is. We point you out, right? Deuteronomy 30 and 3. That then the Lord thy God will turn thy captivity. Who? Israel. We're talking about Israel, right? We're talking about Israel. Matter of fact, I'm gonna start at verse 1. Because see, the thing is they'll hear that and say, oh, that ain't true. Jump up to verse 1, right? Because we got to look at the great mercies that's promised to Israel for our repentance, right? The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 30, verse 1. And it shall come to pass when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse, right? As we talked about in Deuteronomy 28, proving our acknowledgement, right? Proving our acknowledgement. We received that blessing under King David and King Solomon, right? It says, which I have sent before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations. Where? The Haitians? No, not the Haitians. All the nations. The Haitians are Levites, right? It says, all the nations whither the Lord thy God have driven thee, our disobedience, right? For the curses spoke of in Deuteronomy 28, the blessings that are spoke of in Deuteronomy 28, right? Guess what? Verse 2 says, and shalt return unto the Lord thy God. Oh, he put the Israelites away. They're not the children of God, but what does the scripture say? And shall return unto the Lord thy God, and shall obey his voice, according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children, with all thy heart and with all thy soul, that then the Lord thy God will turn thy captivity. This is what we're going through right now. The Most High has put an eviction notice on Edom, on the nation of Edom. He's turning that captivity, right? And having compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations, whether the Lord thy God has scattered thee, right? The Most High is sending Yahushua back to gather us. And when it doesn't include Tyler, right? And Jessica, right? That's a problem for them. That's a problem for them. And I said, well, that was back in the Old Testament. Oh, okay. It was back in the Old Testament, right? So we weren't still scattered after what you're calling the Old Testament? Oh, yeah, no. Okay. No problem. James 1:1. James, a servant of God and of the Lord, Hamashiach Yahushua, and to the 12 tribes, the 12 tribes of Israel, right? And to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greeting. So when they say, oh, well, they were talking to all the Greeks. They were talking to all the everybody. But when it came to Yahweh, Shalom, Princess Kale, good to see you, sis. When it comes to everybody getting to go, right? And we show you that Christ said there's only one set of people he came from, the lost sheep of the house of Israel. That's a problem. They can't get around that. They can't deal with that, right? Because of their wickedness. They think their wickedness is going to go unpunished. You kill up all the fish in the ocean that you can kill with all types of chemicals, all types of wicked inventions and technology. You're killing all the birds in the air. You're killing the honeybee, right? You're creating other monstrosities. Oh, we got mosquito eaters. So things like flying spiders. We got mosquito eaters. Who told you to make those? Who told you to do that? It's just the wickedness of their inventions. We're going to touch that. We're going to touch that because you don't see us doing that. You don't see us doing it at all as a nation. Because you know what? They're not going to let us do it. We don't get the ops core when it comes to stuff. They'll be like, what you in there working on, Tyrone? Something to clean up all the water? Yeah, I'll take that. They put their name on it. And then they clean up their stuff. They clean up the places they want people to go vacation, right? We're going to put hotels in the Gaza Strip. Okay. You go see what the Most High do to those too, if you do it. But see, that's the pride and haughtiness of Edom as a nation. They don't care. They take over everything. right? We're going on a safari. That's the last great golden lion. It's over 50 years old. It's created X amount of prides. It's done this and that as a mighty lineage. Then they're going to get out that 30R8 and put the head on the wall. And guess what? They paid our X's millions of dollars that they put on the price for them getting a chance to kill that lion. But guess what? A lot of these lions and tigers and game cats and bears and animals of the Most High put no spirits on them to attack without mercy, right? Without mercy. Oh, he was mauled by a tiger. All praises. That golden eagle scratched his eyes out. All praises. Carried his baby off and dropped it over the cliff of rocks. That child has never been seen again. All praises. We're not going out there doing that stuff, right? They're doing the wickedness, right? We're talking about this in Capt 101. Most I put on my spirit. You know why they like to skydive? They like to hang from things and then drop because they know that they're the wickedness. They want to implement Lucifer allegedly being cast down from heaven, but we're going to go into that to prove who that was, right? The devil, right? Satan works for the Most High. He is a representation of the ultimate evil. Just like Christ is a representation of the ultimate righteousness, right? The devil can't do anything. Satan can't do nothing without getting a permission slip to go on a field trip. We read about it in Job, right? We read about it. He had to be told, these are the ROEs of you dealing with Job. You can do this, you can do that, but you can't kill him. You didn't see Satan walking off like, shit, watch, I'm gonna kill that, I'm gonna kill him, watch. He can't do it because he has to follow strict commandments, right? Those evil spirits sitting on the left-hand side of the Most High, we see them. Let me be a lying spirit in the mouth of the prophets. Let me do this. Let me do that. Those evil spirits, because guess what? The Most High said, I create good and I create evil. It's in the scriptures. But they don't want to hear that, right? They don't want to, exactly. Oh, we're going to do X Games. I'm going to flip this motorcycle in the air 50 times. And when they crash, and oh my gosh, somebody get the stretcher. I'll be like, all praises. All praises. All right. Can't wait to watch the bloopers because you're out there trying to show out and do something that, guess what? That don't make you great because you can flip a dirt bike in the air. That don't make you great. All right. But they don't get that. Job 9:24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? Right? We got to look at it. You can go to Jeremiah 15:24, 1 Maccabees 3:48, Wisdom of Solomon 15:4. Those are great precepts to stack up with that, right? But the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Whose face is on the money? Those who want to be seen them in. Vanity, right? Vanity. They took the gold and gave us cotton dollars, right? Cotton money. Still a slave. They call it legal tender, right? But there's certain things you can't do. If you're traveling, let's say you got $10,000 with you, you travel, that's a problem. It's your money, it's a problem. If you got over $10,000 in the bank, that's a problem. They want to know why. How come you got so much money? What do you plan on doing with that? That's a problem. This proves that our people are still being subjected to being in slavery. Where's your passport? You can't leave. Where's your driver's license? You can't drive. Where's your gun license? You can't have a gun, right? Because I said so. That's what Esau is. That's why Edom is gotten that eviction notice on their kingdom. All the heathen nations see that eviction notice when they walk by and say, oh man, I think we're going to be out of here, right? Esau has the real thug mansion, but they're the thugs of the earth. Big thugs, they don't come take it. That expression, it's like taking candy from a baby. Who would take candy from a baby? Esau. Right? We know that. Eli Kicks, good to see you. Right? The earth was given into the hand of the wicked. when it was doing the Trail of Tears, and those little babies fell behind. They wanted to speed everybody up. They took the baby by the feet up against the rock, cut all that crown out. That son of Andrew Jackson, Mr. $20 bill, right? He signed off on that. That was okay for him to do the Northern Kingdom like that. It's not okay to the Lord. They will pay for that. Hiding them on reservations, stealing their land. This is why the Lord had to say, hey, y'all divided my land. I gave that to them. I didn't tell y'all to come take that, but okay, no problem. Got it. Because guess what? I'm going to destroy it all. There's one thing that Esau has that once it gets destroyed, they're finished. Stock market. He jumping off the building. They taking a shotgun hookah, right? When something goes wrong with that thing. Let's go with the book of Acts, right? 4:26. When the earth was given into the hand of the wicked, right? Let's prove it. The book of Acts, chapter 4, verse 26, right? It says, the kings of the earth stood up, and the rulers were gathered together against the Lord and against Christ. Well, I thought everybody was going. But y'all standing up against Christ. Y'all not trying to stop that. Because these heathens have their heaven right now on earth, right? They get pulled over by the police. Guess what happens? They will cuss that officer out from A to Z, and nothing will happen. They got the car. Why the F did you pull me over? I'm headed somewhere, and they're a little staggery. They've been drinking, right? Do you know who my father is? Do you know who my uncle is? He's the judge of I'll have your job on Monday. How dare you pull me over? Their women are twice as worse as them. Karen be out there trying to snatch your phone, do all types of foolishness, all right? And when it goes left, or someone defends themselves, as we see in videos, I seen a Karen attack a Northern Kingdom sister in the store and got smacked. Had to shake up her equilibrium. She became the victim, but the people was like, hey, you put your hands on her. She said, don't touch me, right? Don't touch me. This is the pride that they have on them, but they also live in fear. And that fear creates more pride and creates more haughtiness. When they see you, they clench their purse like a running back. They clench it. Like it's like $1 million in that purse, right? It's crazy. But they are gathered. These people in high stature, Esau, a lot of those multimillionaires, they're not going to church. They're investing. They're too busy right now. They're enjoying a vacation. They're not doing that, right? And even the low-level heathens, they're in the church, right? And all they're doing is just playing along. They're looking at the word of the Most High, confused. That pastor go up there and just, the Bible not even open. He's reading from a sheet of paper. There's no scriptures coming out. There's no precepts upon precepts. It's just prosperity gospel. God is good. He's good enough for you to give another offering, brother. Yeah. So if y'all keeping y'all Sabbath on a Sunday, why is there always a bake sale, food for sale? You're not giving the food away, right? They own the land rights for the property of the church also. Yeah, 501(c)(3). They're not gonna mess that up. Joel Osteen goes up and he walks around the whole service with that smug look on his face, just calling out scriptures that he may be able to recall and paraphrasing it incorrectly, right? And when you call them out on this, when you expose them, like what was the Copland, when that lady asked him about him flying in a private jet and he went straight demon mode, don't you say nothing about that. And they got him on camera saying that. And here's the scripture showing, right? Showing what's going on. Let's go over to Psalms 2:1. Why do the heathen rage? And the people imagine a vain thing, right? Oh, he wasn't raging. He was just upset. The heathen's raging. We see it. They're upset. Oh, well, he brought a knife to school and when that Edomite attacked him, he didn't have to take his life. He could have just walked away. You're upset when it's that, right? But when it's a When they bring Call of Duty to the school, now it's, oh, he has a mental issue. Yeah, he needs mental help. Let's just think about those people who lost their lives. Let's not dwell on who he is, who his family is. Let's not look into that, right? Let's not think about the sister who was in her house boiling water, who called the police there. Nothing in her hands, pot of water in the sink, turned around, and they still shot her. After him telling her he was going to shoot her because she rebuked him in the name of the Lord, right? It exercised that demon right in her house. But guess what? When we get out there and march about it, oh, yeah, we don't want that. We don't want to be reminded that we messed up. The Most High told us not to do that anyway. Protesting for what? Exodus 14:14 says, hold your peace, let me fight. Let me do this. But you think that going out there to march is going to fix something. It's not. It's just going to make more targets, more attacking. When our people went out there and marched, they had the German Shepherds on deck, water hose on deck, right? Turned up to the highest level from a fire truck or a fire hydrant. And guess what? You get hit with the water, that junk will take your skin off, right? Most High told us not to go out there and do all of that, right? Shalom, shalom, Mahara, right? These heathens, they're raging, right? Verse 2, the kings of the earth set themselves, right? That Acts 4:25 and 4:26. And the rulers take counsel together, right? Elon Musk, all their little, Doge coins, it's like Doeg the Edomite. They still know who they are. They never have lost understanding of who they are. They just don't want that to be spoken about by us. They don't want our people waking up because we are the fuel for their ideas. They didn't go to space. They shot a deep fake. They didn't go to space with the Elon Musk thing. They caught them. There's plenty of pictures of them doing stupid stuff. Technology is not going to stop, right? It works as a double-edged sword against the heathen, right? Just like those small hats that threw the brother out of his wheelchair, and luckily was somebody there recording, watching him knock him out his wheelchair. For what? For what? Because they feel that, hey, you can't touch us. We're the real men in black. You can't touch us, right? We're going back to our tunnels. Don't follow us. We're going back to the Diamond District. Don't follow us, right? You got that Edomite jeweler get caught saying that something was like 75,000 in real diamonds. It wasn't. Now the other Edomites like, I'm finna sue you, right? Because they lie. They don't care who they lie to. They lie to anybody. They lie to their own. They lie to themselves. They look in the mirror, lie to themselves. I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm a good guy, right? And it says the rulers take counsel together against the Lord, right? And we just read that in Acts 4:26. The kings of the earth stood up, and the rulers were gathered together against the Lord and against His Christ, right? Now you're going up against the Most High and His Son, and you think you're going to win, okay? Well, we see right here in verse 2 where it says, "Hey, the kings of the earth set themselves." Right? Because they appoint themselves. You going out there trying to vote for them, they've already set themselves up. They know who got next on the ox court. They know who got next on the court. Right? Hey, you got your 5. Hey, guess what? Sorry, I ain't picking none of y'all. I'm picking my people. Even though they just lost consecutive games. Right? It says, the rulers take counsel together, that G20, right? Those summits that they have. They're taking that counsel together against the Lord and against His anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast away the cords from us. You go to Hosea, right? 11:4, Isaiah 58:6. To look at those bands, that connection that we have with the Lord. They want to break that. They want to break that, right? That's what they want to break. They want to keep us in sin. And they know, like Judah 5:19-20, if they keep us in sin, they know the Lord ain't going to fight for us. That's what they're looking to do, right? That's what they're looking to do. They set themselves as kings and rulers of the earth, right? Verse 4, he that sitteth in heaven shall laugh. The Lord shall have them in derision. Now they're all attacking each other, Democrat, Republican. All that's just satire. They really don't have issues with each other. They just know, hey, we ain't gonna let them rule. I'm gonna rule a little bit. Now you gonna rule a little bit. I'm gonna rule a little bit, and you gonna rule a little bit. Right? They're gonna shake things up. We're gonna make it seem like we're so against each other, but we're on the same page. Left wing, right wing, same bird. Same bird of prey. Right? Psalms 1:19-85. Right? It says, the proud have digged pits for me. Have they not? Have they not? Last hire, first fire. Oh, we got to make cuts. What about Tony who comes to work? Right? I know that's your nephew, Jeff. Right? But guess what? Anthony doesn't do any work. He's always asleep. The number's always wrong when he turns them in. But guess what? The proud have digged their pits for me. This is why the Most High has to give Edom an eviction notice. Right? This is why these Caucasians who are proudly living, they got to get their eviction notice from power, right? It says, the proud have digged pits for me, which are not after thy law. Because they don't keep the laws of the Most High. They charge an interest with the credit card. They own the credit card companies, right? They shed innocent blood, right? They don't care if they misdiagnose you. You can't sue them. They don't care if they falsely arrest you, right? You got to get you a lawyer. And most likely our lawyer knows your lawyer. So, hey, guess what? Good luck with that. We'll have you in court for 5 years till you just give up. Or we give you up like that. They'll give you up. Meaning just, oh, you got in a mysterious car accident. This happened. Gas leak. Oops. Now that $50 million lawsuit is gone. All right. It's gone. Hey, think about that. They're not after the laws of the Most High. They could care less about the laws of the Most High. They only care about what allows them to keep their foot on the neck of those who they don't mind crushing. And guess what? Yahweh Shah's going to come back and he going to put his foot on their necks. It's one of my favorite precepts. Put the foot on their throats. Where was that one? Baruch 4:25. Tread upon the enemy's neck. Yes, that's what I'm praying for our people, for the 12 tribes to be able to do. Right? Tread upon the enemy's neck. All right? Jump over to verse 95. Stand in Psalms 119. And this is a powerful read. All right? A powerful read. Start your day off and just read this. Read a little bit of it every day, all the way through. It's a great read. It's a great restoring chapter, right? Verse 95, it says, the wicked have waited. Because we just said the proud have digged pits for me, right? The earth was given into the hand of the wicked. We're tying this all together. The kings of the earth stood up and the rulers were gathered together against the Lord and against his Christ. We're proving that Edom is who we say they are. Edom is who the scriptures say they are. And now, since we know it, we're going to acknowledge that the Most High is true and they are the lie. And keep going. It says, the wicked have waited for me to destroy me, right? Destroy you with what? False doctrines. All types of, you ain't got to do this. You can eat that, right? Your child can do this. Your child can dress like that. You don't got to discipline your child. We'll discipline them. We got a prison industrial system. We can put them in, right? They don't mind doing that. They're all for it, right? Hit the like, share, subscribe as y'all come on in, right? Now, the wicked has waited for me to destroy me, but I will consider thy testimony. Right? I will consider thy testimony. What's the testimony? Right? Jump to verse 129. Thy testimonies are wonderful. Therefore, doeth my soul keep them. Right? We have to look at why they don't want us to keep those testimonies of the Lord. Why is that such a problem for them to do, for us to do thus say the Lord, right? You know why? And a lot of times we'll say, well, why the Lord ain't punishing the wicked? Why they get to do this and that? See, we ain't supposed to be concerned with why the wicked ain't getting punished, right? They get all these heart transplants. They get all these surgeries to stay around. They're 106 and they're old and decrepit. Still ain't give up the power. Senile, still ain't give up the power. You know why? Most High show you. Job 21 and 30. You want to highlight this in your Bibles, right? The wicked is reserved to the day of destruction. All praises, right? A lot of the wicked, they got reservations with Yahweh Shah to be put to death and don't even know it. They assume, they assume that, I'm going to just live forever. I'm going to live forever, right? My lineage, my seed's going to go on forever, right? It says they shall be brought forth to the day of wrath, right? This is verse 31. Who shall declare his way to his face? And who shall repay him what he have done? The Most High is at their destruction. All that damaging of this earth, the ecosystem, the food, the doctrine, the destruction of our people's mind. Who's going to pay that back? The Most High will. He's going to be sending his son. His son ain't going for none of that. All right? He ain't going for none of that. Jump over to the book of Isaiah. When Isaiah 14. All right? It was great when we was in Camp 101 last night. We was going over this. I said, man, Most High, all praise to the Most High. Right? He's going to peel back some more layers in regards to this, right? We're going to Isaiah 14 and 12 to prove that Lucifer is the white man. You can prove that, right? It says, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which did weaken the nations, right? Well, we got to look at the heaven that he's referring to in this. Hold your spot. Go to Lamentations 2 and 1. All right. Let's look at it because Shalom Shemek, right? There's 4 types of heavens, right? The heaven in this case is rulership, right? This is why Edom's getting that eviction notice, right? This is how he fell from heaven, right? The heaven that he's fallen from is rulership. Look at all the dismay all over the world now because of this so-called trade and tariff war and all of that, right? How exceptionally proud Moab has become. Edom is getting just as proud. They calling each other peasants and all that type of stuff. And the Most High is turning their recompense upon their own head. He's going to bring them down to the valley of Jehoshaphat, as I read about earlier, right? He's going to plead with them for us. But when he plead with them, he's going to plead with them with a sword. And they're going to be out there destroying them, and he's going to gather us from the places we were scattered to. I'm going to read this Lamentations 2 and 1. How hath the Lord covered the daughter of Zion with the cloud, right? In his anger, and cast down from heaven unto the earth the beauty of Israel, and remembered not his footstool in the day of his anger. That cast down from heaven unto the earth the beauty of Israel was the rulership we had. You had King Solomon, you had King David, King Hezekiah, King Saul. It's a lot of kings, right? But due to disobedience, that rulership was brought down, right? That rulership was brought down. They know the story does not play Because the 4 types of heaven, we can get them. We can write them down real quick. You have space, all right? Genesis chapter 1, verse 6, verse 8, verse 14 through 16. Write that down. You have the sky, right? 2 Corinthians 12 and 2, right? You have the third heaven where the throne of the Most High sits, right? That's Deuteronomy 11 and 21. You have rulership, right? Because guess what? Isn't this heaven on earth for them? They get to have the most delicious things, right? Sociably, they feel like they have the best clothes, the best cars, the best lawns, the best houses, the best vacations. Shalom like no other nation, right? See, their rulership is what Lucifer, the son of the morning. This is where he's fallen from heaven. He's getting that eviction notice from the Most High. All praises, right? All praises. We just read, right? Verse 13, let's prove it some more on who he is, right? That Lucifer is the so-called Caucasian, the pride of that nation, right? It says, for thou hast said in thy heart, I will ascend unto heaven. Then they just try to go into the heaven, which is found in Genesis chapter 1 that I just went over, try to go into space, right? I will ascend into the heaven. You don't see us trying to make rocket ships to go up there. They started with that Tower of Babel. They still ain't stopped, right? I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. So you're going to put your throne with your so-called space stations. I don't even think you're getting out of orbit. That's just me. I don't think you can lead a firmament. I don't think you can even get out there to go into that. All of that, I believe y'all just going in and doing the deep fake and green screen. Y'all ain't got enough power to get past the creations of the Most High, right? That's why you can't go to the bottom of the sea and say, we at the bottom. You get down there, you get crushed. Oh, it's the gravity and pressure. No, it's the hand of the Most High. Who told you to come down here? All right? We have gotten so powerful, we don't need government. Right? Who's gotten so powerful? Cornell. Who's gotten so powerful? Because there's nobody more powerful than the Almighty, right? There's no one, right? But again, it says, I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. So we're gonna have the best things. We have the tallest skyscrapers. We have the biggest buildings, right? But let's hold this, as we coming back to this. We're gonna build on this a little bit. Go over to Obadiah. Get the book of Obadiah. It's something that you never hear them read in the Christian church. They don't read that book of Obadiah. No, they stay away from that. They're like, oh, no, we ain't reading that. They're not reading that. You know why they don't go to the book of Obadiah? Because it speaks in reference to what they're going through, right? Proving who they are, right? The book of Obadiah, chapter 1, verse 4, it says, though thou exalt thyself as an eagle, right? Because what did he say he was going to do? He was going to ascend. He said in his heart, he's going to ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. That's what he said, right? Right here proves, it says, though thou exalt thyself as an eagle, and though thou hast set thy nest among the stars, right? They don't want to hear about this. You're right, It says, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord, right? And I said, well, who has the eagle, right? God. Yep. That's who has it, right? But let's get a precept proving that wicked eagle, right? Because they always put the eagle on everything. The bird of America. Mm-hmm. A lot of countries have that. Second Ezra, chapter 11 and 45, a great precept to go with that 13, that Isaiah 14 and verse 13. You put that that Obadiah 1 and 4 there. Then you can also stack with that Obadiah 1 and 4, Second Ezra, chapter 11 and verse 45. And I'm going to read it. It says, "And therefore appear no more, thou eagle, nor thy horrible wings, right wing, left wing," right? All praises for your subscription, man. Hit that like button. Share this to your whatever, I don't know, Facebook, whatever people's social media on now, because I don't really deal with the social media. Right? It says, "Nor thy horrible wings, the left wing, the right wing, indoctrination of a false government," right? It says, "Nor thy wicked feathers," right? You go into chapter 12, you get those 12 feathers of the 12 Caesars of Rome, right? They still operating under those same circumstances. They never changed their playbook, right? It says, "Nor thy malicious heads," right? Because when one go down, it's another one that pops up, right? It's like we read in the actual the vision of Daniel in 7 and 7, right? That was that eagle that came up out of the sea, right? And that was a kingdom. We see that. This is going into, man, look here, bro. That's for another time because I'm going too deep, right? Because they're going to keep crowning themselves. They're going to keep putting crowns on their own heads. That's why it says malicious heads. "Nor thy hurtful claws." What do they use their claws to do? Destroy opportunity, right? Destroy our communities, destroy our mindset, right? Trying to destroy the understanding of who we are as a people. That's what they're looking to do, right? It says, "Nor all thy vain body," right? It says that all the earth may be refreshed. How is it going to be refreshed? We get Esau out of there, putting all that smog and chemicals and stuff in the air, right? He's doing that. He's the one polluting the air with the foolishness. To create more foolishness, polluting the water, polluting the earth. He's doing that. The Most High is putting that spirit on him to do it so he can get the ultimate punishment. This is why Esau and the nation of Edom is getting their eviction notice from power. They can't deal with it, right? It says that all the earth may be refreshed and may return, being delivered from thy violence, and that she may hope for the judgment and the mercy of him that made her. The earth is tired of Edom, man. Get them mugs out of here. They think that they just going, "Oh, we're going to heaven. We're going to have a good time." No, y'all going to be on the cleanup crew, buddy. Y'all got work to do. Y'all got things that you think you're not going to clean up, but the Most High made beautiful. Think you're not going to clean that up, right? But see, that's the pride that they carry. That is the pride that they carry. They don't never think they're going to be responsible for that. Yes, the animals are revolting against them. They're super revolting against them, man. All praise to the Most High. Crocodile hunter. "Oh, what's this? Crikey." Right in the chest. They getting attacked on safari. Animals just coming out of nowhere, attacking them. They tired of it. They're tired of it. Like the elephant. The elephant, don't forget, came through the funeral. Oh, she in his casket? Oh, flipped it over, stomped it out, attacked the people, right? Left, came back, spun the block, snatched her out the casket, threw her body all over the place. He ain't forget what happened to his elephant brothers and sisters by that woman, right? The animals not playing either, right? We go back, Isaiah 14 and 14, right? It says, "I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High." Wow. Let's see Esau skydive from space. Oh, wait, they did try and do something like that with Red Bull. Red Bull. They know who they are. They're putting it right in your face. Have a Red Bull. Have a Edom Bull. Right? They got they had somebody descend, so-called descend from space, because they like to implement who they are. Lucifer. They do it. Skydiving, base jumping, all of that. They want to implement that. Because they know who they are. They know they are the devil's seed. They know that. They know that they are the deceivers, right? Let's get that precept to go with this, right? Hold this. Jump over to Ezekiel 28. We got. we're pointing them all out. We point out we going every opportunity to point them out. You know why? Because our people need to wake up and stop trying to say it's always, well, what about the Edomites? Why we can't save them? Right? They want judgment on earth, but we get it. They gonna get it on earth and in heaven. They gonna get both, most high willing, right? Ezekiel 28:2 says, Son of man, saying unto the prince of Tyrus, which is Esau, right? Thus say the Lord God, because thy heart is lifted up, and thou hast said, I am a God, I sit in the seat of God, right? In the midst of the seas, yet thou art a man and not God, though thou set thy heart as the heart of God. You go to Malachi 1:4, right? Also, we got to show them. They think they gods of everybody. You get to talking about the Esau Edomite police as the 12 tribes, it ain't going to go like how Colin can do it. You know who my father is? He's a district attorney. Have your job. How dare you pull me over? You get out the car and say, hey, what's going on? Why did you pull me? Get back in the car. Get on the ground. Put your hands in the air. Roll on your back. They got so many. They throw out all of these different commands. And when you don't do it, because you got one officer saying get on the ground. You got one officer saying put your hands in there, don't move. You got one officer saying don't reach front. You're not even reaching your hands in the air. All right? You got all that going. We're going to display taser. I'm going to tase you. Now, when you're getting shot and you can't put your hands behind your back, stop resisting. Wow. Okay? No problem. This is how they want to extend above the heights of the clouds and want to be like the Most High. They want to implement that judgment, right? Verse 15, yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit, all praises, right? They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man, the Caucasian, is this the white man, right, that made the earth tremble, that did shake kingdoms? Because think about it, Alexander the Great was one of the biggest conquests, right? Yeah, Nebuchadnezzar, Darius, right? Yeah, all these different rulers of different nations, right? Were all under that Lucifer spirit of conquest, right? That's why when we read that verse 12, oh, Lucifer, how you fallen from heaven, they're falling from their leadership. They're falling from their state of power and pride. That's what they're falling from. And they don't like that. That's why it says, is this the man? Right? Oh, but Lucifer got cast out of heaven. Is this the man? Lucifer is a man. Right? That's the devil that the Bible speaks of. When we say, hey, you're the devil that the Bible speaks of, we're not saying that you're Satan. No, he works for the Most High. He's a perfect evil. They can't even be perfectly evil to even be Satan. But they're Lucifer. They're the devil. They're still a deceiver. They still operate under the seed of their father, Satan, right? Big time false light bearer, right? It says, that made the world as a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof. Who cuts down the rainforest? Right? Where those animals going to go to? Who puts puts resorts on beaches where the sea turtles going to lay their eggs? Right? Who cuts down the trees? Where the eagles going to go? Anything that they can get their hands on, they try to destroy. Yeah, we're going to destroy 100 acres because we want to make something for us. We don't care who's there. We don't care what's in the way. We already got the building plans. This is how we're going to do it. It's going to make us this much money in the fiscal quarter of this year, right? But that's why verse 16 says, is this the man that made the earth tremble, that did shake kingdoms? What do? Destabilize countries. This is how they shake kingdoms. They shake it up. They get their own proxy government going. And guess what? Then that turns into a problem, right? Verse 18 says, all the kings of the nations. We read about all the kings earlier, right? All the kings of the nations, even all of them, lie in glory, everyone in his own house. It says, but thou art cast out of thy grave like an abominable branch, and as a remnant of those that are slain, thrust through with a sword that go down to the stones of the pit, as a carcass trodden under feet. The Most High has a bunker busting missile technology that's created. If you think you're going to get in your dumbs, if you think you're going to hide from the Lord on the day of judgment, and you're going to just push the button from a remote location, right? You're going to hide in Greenland in the missile silos. You're sadly mistaken. The Most High is going to have all your recompense turned on your head, man. Esau, you must pay, right? You must pay. Because it's going to keep going, right? It says, because thou shall not be joined with them in burial, because thou hast destroyed thy land and slain thy people. The seed of evildoers shall never be renowned. Prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. You can select it. You can get Sirach 41:6, right? Or it was just in Obadiah. You go to Obadiah 1:9. That's a stronger precept to put with that, showing that that slaughter will be prepared for them, right? It will be prepared for them. Matter of fact, I'm going to just read it real quick. Let's just read it, right? Obadiah 1:9, it says, and thy mighty men, O Taman, shall be dismayed to the end that every one of Mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter. All praises. So when we say Esau prepare slaughter for his children, oh, that's not right. You're talking hate. You're doing it. No, God said it. We read it. God said it. We read it. All right, make that a shirt. God said it. We read it. That's it. Y'all mad because we're reading what you're choosing to avoid? That's like a fat person cheating on their diet. You know I say trans fat in that. You don't need those cookies. You don't need that. But guess what? You're going to eat it anyway. Like Kodak said, he knew it was fake, but he ate it anyway. All right? We can't be eating a fake doctrine. Go over to 2 Ezra 8. Can't be eating these fake doctrines, these propagandas that they put out, because that's what they're doing. That's their artificial intelligence systems. These propagandas they're creating, right? They can make the rap video with Donald Trump wearing gold chains, smoking a cigar, and Putin and Jin, what's the name, buddy from North Korea, trying to confront him like it's a rap video or something. They can do that. They're doing that. It's there. The technology's there to make all types of stuff happen, right? They're still trying to perfect it. They can't get them hands right. Hands be having 18 fingers on it, or 2 fingers, so all types of stuff, right? 2 Ezra 8:27 says, regard not the wicked inventions of the heathen, right? They're going to be kept for the day of destruction, like Job 21 and 30, right? So it says, regard not the wicked inventions of the heathen, but the desire of those that keep thy testimonies in afflictions. We're being afflicted. We're being afflicted right now. We cannot regard the wicked inventions of their propaganda. You guys are a hate group. You guys are this. You guys are that. No, we're out here. The Lord said it. We read it. That's going to be my new little catchphrase. The Lord said it. We read it. The Lord said it. We read it. The Bible is the #1 selling book on the planet. It is. The most sold. Right? The Most High knows what he's doing. A lot of people just don't take it into consideration. They're living by their own understanding. And guess what? They're going to pay for that, unfortunately. Jump over to 2 Ezra 13 with me, Baba Kusha, and go to verse 37. It says, and this, my son, shall rebuke the wicked inventions of those nations which, for their wicked life, are fallen into tempest. They're going to get that eviction notice. They're falling out of that. These trade wars, these tariffs, it's tearing them up. It's messing up the money. That's why they're going to try and go to digital currency and all this other foolishness. All they're trying to do is just move the goalposts, change the game, keep those things going, right? They're falling in. How are they falling into tempest? How are they falling into tempest? Psalms 106. Let's get it. Let's show it. Let's prove it, right? We're not like Esau. We're going to prove all things, right? Psalms 106 and 39. It says, thus were they defiled with their own works. These works are how they've fallen into tempest. Their wicked inventions of propaganda and different technologies and social medias and things to actually have our people not even so much brainwashed, but overly consumed with wanting to implement or to indulge in. Those are their own works that they're defiled with, right? And went a-whoring with their own inventions, right? This is what now it's coming back to kick them in the face. Technology is everywhere. There's always someone recording. There's always someone, record thee this day, right? Scriptures say that. It's always someone recording. It's always going to be the Most High bringing something out for it to be seen, right? Because they try to say, well, we didn't do it. It was our ancestors. As a matter of fact, we were in captivity too. We went into slave. Come on, stop it. Y'all wasn't brought on those slave ships. Y'all wasn't done. Y'all didn't go through that. All right? Where's the movies? 100 Years a Slave. Where's that? I think it was, 12 Years a Slave? But nonetheless, every slave movie got us in it. Ain't got y'all in it. I ain't seen no slave movie with Moabites or Ammonites, all right? They trying to come up with the small hat concentration videos and stuff, but guess what? Nobody cares about that. Not even them. They just do it to kind of try to make the world feel guilty. But ours is thrown in our face, and then when we talk about it, you guys are playing the victim. You know what? First Maccabees 2 and 10. Let's look at this, see what it says. What nation have not had a part in her kingdom? Who? Kingdom of Israel, right? It says, and gotten of her spoils, right? All her ornaments are taken away. Of a free woman, she has become a bond slave, right? All glories were carried, right? Verse 9, jump up to verse 9, right? It says, her glorious vessels are carried away into captivity. Who is that? Our people, right? Her infants are slain in the streets, right? Isn't our children being shot down repeatedly? Trail of Tears, Black Wall Street, right? Boy, I tell you, it's getting out of control, bro. It says, her young men with the sword of the enemy, shoot down the young men as well. Oops, we had a mistake in the military. All those black soldiers, oops, sorry. Let's not even talk about it. Let's keep that in, right? What nation have not had part in her kingdom and gotten her spoils? How many people took us into captivity? How many people had to be punished in the scripture for drinking abominations out of the vials of the Lord, right? God, great precept, right? Let's go to Revelations. Let's prove it. Let's prove it, because they're gonna say, "Oh well, it wasn't everybody. You guys rejected Christ." No. Y'all trying to move the goalposts again. Hey, good at that. Revelations 18 and 3. It's just for all nations, right? But it said right there, First Maccabees 2 and 10. What nation have not had part of her kingdom and gotten of her spoils? Revelations 18 and 3. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornications with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. Talking about America. As they say, America. That's what they're talking about right then and there. You can't sit here and say, "Oh, well, no, everybody got weapons. Everybody got their proxy governments. Everybody got their little payoffs. Everyone got their bribes to do this or that, the wicked inventions of their propaganda, right? To ride with us, even when our country was doing the BS. Well, their country, Salakia, right? We are the nation of Israel. Jump down to verse 7. It says, how much she has glorified herself and lived deliciously, right? Statue of Liberty. So much torment and sorrow give her. For she saith in her heart, I sit a queen and am no widow and shall see no sorrow. Right? Jump down to verse 9. It says, and the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her. Oh man, did you hear what Moab said? This $500 Gucci belt I bought to make myself look rich and important only cost them $2 to make. And you guys charge me $500 plus tax for this, bro? What about that Birkin bag? That's almost $40,000. They're telling me it only cost them maybe $20 in materials, and y'all charge me $38,000? Yes. Y'all gonna bewail her and lament her when they shall see the smoke of her burning. Right? Let's get verse 11. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her. Oh, America can't buy stuff no more. They can't buy our iPhones, our PlayStations, our Jordans, our luxury designers, our luxury vehicles. What are we going to do, right? It says, for no man buyeth her merchandise anymore. They don't buy the lies anymore. The lies is the propaganda of status, the wicked inventions. If you want a top class vehicle that loses appreciation and value as soon as you drive it off the lot, you got to drive this Lamborghini. Even though it might catch on fire, with you in it and you ain't gonna be able to get out, you got to drive. You got to have that luxury. You got to have that. Right? Jump down to verse 15. It says, the merchants of these things which were made rich by her, right? All that luxury, all the stuff that they say, oh, I got to come to America. I got to get the Tommy Hilfiger. I got to get the Nike. I have to get this. I have to get that. Right? They come over, they can barely speak English, but as long as they got them some luxury designer, after the Versace, right? The Fendi, the Louis, the Gucci, they got to have that, right? It says, these merchants of these things which were made rich by her shall stand afar off for the fear of her torment. Hey, we're not getting involved in that. That's on them, right? We're going to bring back the jobs here. Well, people don't want these jobs. Y'all close down all the factories and move them because y'all want them cheap. You think you're going to bring the jobs back and cheat people out on them? Y'all done closed that. Y'all done moved a lot of the auto industry to Mexico. Right? And then try to put tariffs on it. What you think that's going to make the cars go up to? Right? And they're not thinking about that. They're going to stand afar off for the fear of her torment and weeping and wailing, right? They're going to be going through something, right? Jump over to Revelations 17 and 6, because it's not over. All this stuff has to happen. That eviction notice has to be stamped, right? Has to be enforced by the law of the Most High, right? He's the one. Revelation 17 and 6. It says, in the 10 horns, right? The 10 common markets, the EU, which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. Who's the whore? America. They're in bed with everybody. They're going to sell you weapons and you weapons. They selling the Bloods of weapons and the Crips of weapons. They just stand in the middle, right? That's who got the red, white, and the blue, right? They just stand in the middle. Hey, I just got a company that makes this stuff. They bought it. I didn't put a gun to their head, right? It says, these shall hate the whore. Every country hates Esau and hates the Edomites and hates this nation for what they've done, the atrocities that they've done. Destroy. Oh, let's drop a destructive device from the sky. Even though y'all have already lost the war, we're gonna just make sure y'all can't bounce back, and then we're gonna make you an ally. Come on, man. And all ally is just a lie. When you think about it, right? You look at how that's spelled, a lie. Wait, no, you're my ally. No, that's just a lie. They're going to attack each and every one of these people that said that they were down with them, right? And they were only down with the whore over fear of what was going to happen to their country, right? To where they're from. And it says, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire, right? For God have put in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree and to give their kingdoms unto the beast until the words of God shall be fulfilled, right? He's put them in a situation where, guess what? They can't help themselves, right? They cannot help themselves. Yes, you never trust thy enemy. Get my last precept. This is what we're going to do. Revelations 18 and 20. It says, rejoice over her, thou heaven, and ye holy apostles and prophets. Yep, who the prophets are? We the prophets. Amos 2 and 11. It says, for God have avenged you on her. Right? All praise to the Most High. Edom is going to get the eviction notice from power, from the highest power, called Halal Yahweh Bahashem Hamashiach Yahweh Shah. Here at the Battle Axes, we tell you, keep the commandments of the Lord, right? Do what's righteous unto the Lord, right? Because if we're not doing that, and I pray that y'all all have had a blessed Passover and Feast of Unleavened Bread, right? We're coming to the close of ours. We're going to be having our ball tomorrow. Anybody that's going to be coming into fellowship, please reach out to leadership. Sisters going to have on their beautiful dress. Brothers going to have on their mighty garments. It's going to be a beautiful affair for the Most High to smile about, right? Everybody being in order, thus say the Lord, right? Let's look here. I'm going to read. I'm going to read Exodus 12. And let's see here. I'm going to read 12 and 19 and 20 for the law, right? Let's see here. You know what? And I'm going to read verse 43 just to prove something, right? The book of Exodus, chapter 12, verse 19 and 20, right? 7 days shall there be no leaven found in your houses, for whosoever eateth that which is leavened, even that soul shall be cut off from the congregation of Israel, right? Whether he be a stranger or born in the land. So if you traveled over the fellowship like I did for many years before I moved here to Texas, right? I was a stranger, right, to the congregation. I didn't reside here, so I was a stranger, right? Ye shall eat nothing leavened, in all your habitations shall ye eat unleavened bread. And that's what we've been on. That's what we've been on, right? My red that made the honey one, the chocolate chip was the rave. She even made a cinnamon. All of those unleavened bread, man. All praise to the Most High for increasing the gifts of our congregation. A lot of sisters got their bake on, right? A lot of sisters got their sew on, sewing garments, making shirts, making things to glorify the Lord's Passover. All praise and shout out to all of them, right? Shout out to all the brothers that worked on the grill, that gave contributions, things of that nature. Shout out to them, right? All praises. May the Most High increase you all, right? But I also want to read this verse 43, right? To prove that these heathens have no business associating with what the Lord has given us. Verse 43, and the Lord said unto Moses and Aaron, this is the ordinance of Passover. There shall no stranger eat thereof, right? We have to look at the strangers of our people versus the strangers of the heathen nations, right? It's that's why this one says, he be a stranger or born in the land. That's showing that our people, see here. So we eat lamb on the last day of Passover. Well, we're eating lamb on the last day of Passover, right? That's what we're doing. So if you have it and you want to make, hey, go ahead and make some, right? Nothing wrong with having lamb on the last day. There's nothing that says that you can't. But you got to have your unleavened bread each and every day, right? Again, I am Soldier Ehud, Benaniyah Sharala, the Battle Axes of the Most High. I'm just a humble servant of the Lord. I am nothing more than that, right? I am nothing without his word, especially without his laws, statutes, and commandments. It'll be this evening, and we'll be going into pretty much like the last day. So this evening into tomorrow evening will be the last day of Passover, right? The way we're celebrating ours. We started last week at evening on Friday, right? What's my nationality? Oh, I am a mighty Benjamite of the 12 tribes of Israel, through the seed of Jacob, through the seed of Isaac, through the seed of Abraham. I am a Benjamite. I am an Israelite of the 12 tribes of Israel. What's your nationality? And that's by way of my father's father's father of the islands of Bahamas, right? The West Indies, the Benjamites, right? Again, the water for all the alms, all the prayers, all the affirmations of blessings that you guys have sent. All praise to the Most High for putting this class on my spirit, allowing me to edify the nation in the name of the mighty Yahweh Bahashem Hamashiach Yahweh Shah. Right? Everybody get ready for your day of preparation. During your day of preparation for the Sabbath tomorrow, please tune in this evening for the mighty soldiers Razatakia and Donovan. We'll be bringing our classes either Most High willing, and then tomorrow we'll be having a Sabbath class, right? With the leaders of the congregation will be doing the Sabbath class. Please tune in, right? Again, I bid you guys a call halal Yahweh Ba'ashim Mashiach Yahweh Shah, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shah, Barakatah Yasharala, Barakatah Akim Wa Akwatim, Shemai. I bid all of you peace and blessings in your home. May the Most High continue to increase you all. And Most High willing, I will see y'all next Friday. Shalom.